Harlan Coben.
Yes.
What are you doing at a romance convention?
Well, I love romance. All of my books have romance in them. I mean, probably my first New York Times bestseller, Tell No One, was a love story. I mean, I don't know any great novels that don't have a love story in them, so why wouldn't I be here?
Well, excellent. Well, I know our readers, we're at RT Book Reviews, absolutely adore your stories. You're one of the favorites in the mystery section.
Thank you.
Myron, of course, you're so well known for. He's such a dynamic character. What do you think?
That's a good word. I'll use it.
Okay,
sure.
Okay, that works for you. Good. But I want to go back a little bit because you're doing some re-releases right now. And and I know a lot of artists and authors, once they finish a project, once the painting is done or the poem has been written or the book is released, they don't necessarily like to go back and reread. It can be a painful experience sometimes. Right. Do you find that, or do you not mind going back and checking
Oh no,
it
I hate it. In fact, I even put in the front of Miracle Cure, which is being released. It's been 20 years, and I even wrote in the front. I said, I haven't read this book in 20 years. I don't even want to look at it anymore. Part of it is also you're hard on yourself when you're younger. It's like, you know that essay you wrote when you were in college, you thought was so brilliant, and you find it now and you go,
you were a
oh
genius, you're going to win awards.
Right, oh my God, what was I thinking? It stinks. That's how it is often with older books for me. So if someone always says to me, what's your favorite book? It's usually the one that I just finished or the most current. Not just because I have self-interest, but because you always look back in your old self and say, what did that kid know? What did that person know?
Well, I really liked reading Miracle Cure. I just read it for the first time, and one of the reasons I liked it is because I really think it informs some of your later novels. We have an NBA star, somebody in sports.
Yep.
We have a famous journalist, and they're involved in obviously a thrilling mystery.
And a true romance, no? That's a real romance. That's a major romance.
Yes.
That's romantic suspense, Miracle Cure.
And I was going to say they are able to overcome a lot.
Yeah.
One of the things that Miracle Cure deals with is the AIDS epidemic when it was first, first started.
Yep.
And I think we all walk around with this thing in our head saying, doctors are there to help us, and they're always looking to better our health and everything. And you turn that on its head a little bit because not everyone has the best intentions to.
Well, no one in this book has very good. A lot of people have very bad intentions, and a lot of. The funny thing is, I really don't remember it that well. The other day, my British publisher sent it to me, so I was just kind of doing that thing where, all writers do this, where you just sort of randomly open a page and you read it and I go, I have no idea who these characters are. So I remember wanting to have each character have motives that are obvious and motives that are not, which I still try to do now. It always makes it a more interesting story. And that one, I was young, I was energetic. I think I was in my early 20s when I wrote that book. And there's things about it that I just can't stand. And I always tell people, please read the older ones, the newer ones first. But there's also an energy there I don't have anymore. I mean, there's things I would never have done. People going off to Bangkok for really no reason other than to write scenes in Bangkok and things like that. And it was so much fun,
Yeah, awesome. Well, you took some time off after Miracle Cure to about 3 years, I believe, before you started your Myron series.
By time off meaning I just couldn't get really published. I mean,
the rejection started.
Yeah, it was. You reach a stage in your career. I'd written two for a very small press, and I wanted to make a move up. And so in order to do that, I had to sort of do other kinds of books. And that took, it took 3-4 years before I could have success again.
Well, let's just say that you hit. Let's just say that it worked. Whatever you did during that time, you incubated, and it totally worked because I know fans of Myron are legendary. In fact, you almost crashed my site once because I had a spoiler for your last book about a month before it came out about Myron's relationship, and literally I had more people come to that blog was not angry.
They wanted
just
to say,
so excited about
so
my God, because I think we might have been the first ones to put it. They didn't know what was going to happen.
That's so cool.
And it was awesome. So I almost don't want to ask what's happening next because I don't want to repeat on the site.
Well, what's going to be kind of fun for me is I wrote Live Wire, the most recent Myron book, and the next time you're going to see Myron, he plays a secondary character in a young adult book called Shelter. And in the Live Wire, I introduced a character named Mickey Boltar, his nephew, who's 15 years old. And now Myron is just the uncle. He's that annoying adult in the young adult novel that the kid really can't stand. So if you want to know what happens to Myron next, you have to read a young adult novel called Shelter. So
I think a lot of people will.
We're here to talk how much we like our books, but you're trying to be modest. I can't wait for people to read this young adult novel. I can't wait for the adults to read. This is one of my favorite books I ever wrote, Shelter, and I don't say that very often. I wouldn't even necessarily say it about Live Wire or Caught, the two before this, but I'm so happy with how the young adult, and it was so much fun after all this time to write a totally different book, so it was fun.
Completely different. Well, you've been quoted as saying that nothing about writing is easy for you. That
Nothing.
it is an absolute struggle every time you sit down. Why do you keep doing it then?
I don't really know. Part of it is to pay the bills. No, but it's a calling. I always there's a famous quote that says, "I don't like writing. I like having written." I'm not well balanced if I don't write. If I'm not doing well in writing, if the rest of my life is going fantastically well, I'm just not right. So writing is a part of me. I often say that 3 things make a writer. 2 are obvious, 1 is not. The 2 that are obvious are inspiration, inspired, perspiration, doing the work. But the 3rd most important, I think, is desperation. That is, I'm not fit to do anything else. I have no other marketable skills. If I didn't do this, what would I do all day? Golf, I'm the worst golfer in the world. I have nothing else. So I think and I think most writers feel that way. Not necessarily you enjoy it, but you really don't have much of a choice.
Not much. So it chose you, not the other way around.
Yeah, I think it's actually true of all artistic endeavors. People tell me, like, for example, that they love to paint. Do you paint by any chance?
I do.
Okay. You love painting?
Yes.
Now, at the end of the
good
day,
at it.
you're painting, okay? At the end of the day, you had this wonderful day painting. If your canvas was still blank, would you have loved it?
Yes.
No, you wouldn't have. Come on, you have a blank canvas there. It's the work. And that's same with
But
writing.
you don't understand. I'm really bad at it.
Okay, so maybe in your case it's good.
But no, I definitely understand what you're saying. I do a lot of. I have a lot of hobbies that are the more creative aspects. And you're right. If you didn't have anything to show for it, you just literally wasted your day. Why are you doing that? So
right.
I do understand.
It's about that's what I call creative. You are creating something. If you end up creating nothing, so is it the process or something creating? Wow, that's deep. But you know what I'm saying. So it's those things. That's right. But either way, I have to write, even though I don't necessarily. And it's hard. I mean, when you hear a writer, you're interviewing a lot of writers. The writer that says, "Yeah, it's coming easier to me," I guarantee they're starting to phone it in, and they're not as good as they used to be. If you're not angst-driven, I think you're in a lot of trouble.
And you're still angst-driven.
Oh my God, I'm the most insecure person. Every day I'm writing my book, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, I used to be so good. I've totally lost it. What happened? I was so good before." Next day I'll say, next page, next hour I'll say, "Oh my God, this is great. No one's going to read it because they're going to read that book that's already out there and not give this other work a chance." And that kind of paranoia goes on all the time, that sort of insecurity. And then I finish a book, I think I'll never have another idea again, I'm done. But that's just what writing is.
I don't know. We were just walking through the hall right now, and literally you're stopped by people with books and pens saying you have to sign this, you have to do this. Is it kind of weird being at home and writing and being in front of your computer, then showing up to a convention or showing up to a book signing and having people, let's say, they mob you. They really come up. You've got lines.
Who doesn't love that? I mean, if you have the writer who sits here and says, "Oh no, they're lying. Oh my God." It's like the person who complains about being on book tour. You're the luckiest SOB in the world. What are you complaining about? You go to a store, people tell you how wonderful you are and want to buy you drinks. This is hard work? Yeah, you got to get a real job. If you think that is somehow hard or difficult, this is the most, if you want to really go, someone asked me recently, I was signing a bunch of books, does your hand cramp up? My hand cramps up when no one wants me to sign my book. I've never gotten tired from signing.
Well, I hope we're going to get many, many more from you.
Cool, I hope so too. This has been a lot of fun.
Excellent. Thanks for talking with me today.
Thank you.